Do you think you've seen everything about the animal world? Well, get ready, because there are animals that give antibiotics, others that confuse forensic experts with their fingerprints, and even those that can see through their arms. It may seem crazy, but it's pure science. While we get bogged down in theories, these animals are always giving lessons in strategy, survival, and even humor. And the most curious thing, almost no one talks about it. If you think curiosity is just a pastime, wait until you see how it can open your mind and change the way you see life. Few people stop to think that a jellyfish and a coral, despite their very different appearances, are practically cousins by blood, or rather, by tentacles. It's the kind of curiosity that dismantles certainties and opens doors to new ways of seeing the natural world. While the jellyfish parades through the oceans with that floating way, the coral takes root on the seabed and builds underwater empires. Both are part of the cnidarians, a group that has existed for millions of years, long before any human career plans. Imagine this: while our ancestors were still learning to knock on rocks, these creatures were already shining under the sunlight filtered through the water. Doesn't that make you a little curious about what else nature has in store for you? And speaking of ancestry, what about scorpions? These little guys have been on Earth for over 400 million years. Yes, you read that right. They're older than the dinosaurs. Have you ever thought about finding a creature that survived 5 mass extinctions? Yes, they are still going strong, with that air of someone who knows all the secrets of the planet. They teach us a powerful lesson about resilience, and they don't even need to say a word. If you apply this to your life, think about how it is possible to face the biggest storms with a little strategy and a lot of adaptation. In fact, keeping a journal of daily learnings can be a practice inspired by this natural resistance. Now, hold on tight. Meerkats and civets may seem like cousins in the zoo, but they are opposites in their way of life. Meerkats, for example, are extremely sociable. They live in groups, share tasks, and even take turns guarding. On the other hand, civets, those slender little guys that many people mistake for weasels, are solitary, each in their own corner, with a more introspective approach. You can even learn a lesson from this. Some people thrive in teams, and some work better alone. Knowing your style can completely change the way you approach work and relationships. That's a useful piece of trivia, isn't it? And finally, here's a piece of information that seems to have come out of a barroom chat. Kangaroos have a dominant paw, that is, they are either left-handed or right-handed. Just like humans. This lateral dominance is yet another clue that nature has hidden patterns that are repeated in different species. This has even been observed in the way they support themselves or react to danger. Interesting, isn't it? If even a kangaroo can have a stronger side, maybe it's time to find out which one is yours. Are you more logical or creative? Rational or intuitive? These questions, which seem simple, can be the beginning of a journey of self-knowledge. And it all started with a kangaroo jump. It's curious to think that behind every animal behavior, there is an evolutionary logic that is as precise as it is mysterious. And then, just when you think you've seen it all, a bee or a horseshoe crab appears and messes up everything we thought we knew. Look, if you thought bees were more closely related to wasps, get ready for a soap opera-worthy twist. They are actually closer relatives of ants. That's right. The science of evolution has those surprises that leave us with that, "what the hell?" expression. Despite appearances, wings, stingers, and all, bees share more genetic and behavioral characteristics with ants than with wasps. If you stop and take a look, you'll realize both are organized, live in complex colonies, and have that champion team vibe. A curiosity like that changes the way you look at the world, right? And it doesn't stop there. The horseshoe crab, for example, looks like a mini sea tank, but its evolutionary roots connect it to spiders. Exactly. Despite looking like a crustacean, it is more on the arachnid side of the force. It breathes through gills, has blue blood, literally, and compound eyes that look like something out of a science fiction movie. These unlikely connections show how the tree of life is full of twisted and intertwined branches. It makes you want to dive into an evolutionary biology course, if only to satisfy your curiosity and understand why nature loves twists and turns so much. Now hold on, starfish have eyes. Yes, eyes, and they're on the ends of their arms. This is one of those curiosities that makes us stop everything and search on Google just to confirm. These eyes, despite being simple, help detect light and shadow, which guides their movements on the seabed. In other words, they literally see the world with their arms. Have you ever thought if we could also see with our hands? The world would be different. This kind of discovery teaches us to look beyond form and more at function. Because sometimes, what seems strange is exactly what makes a being incredibly efficient. And speaking of eyes, let's talk about owls. Contrary to what many people think, they don't have mobile eyes. What they actually have are fixed ocular tubes, like built-in binoculars. That's why they turn their necks so much, in a movement that can reach an incredible 270 degrees. All this to compensate for their fixed vision. Isn't that a great adaptive strategy? In fact, there are people out there who are always trying to move what they can't, instead of turning their metaphorical necks and looking at it from another angle. Knowing this is almost therapeutic. Curiosity that inspires flexibility. It's funny how, the more we learn about the unlikely relationships in the animal kingdom, the more we realize that the natural world loves to defy our expectations. And just when you think you've understood enough, a hippo with pink sweat appears to challenge even the most skeptical of the curious. There are things that seem like a joke, but are pure science. The hippopotamus, that calm and serious-looking giant, has its pink sweat. That's right, pink sweat. And it's not just an aesthetic detail. This sweat has antibiotic properties and acts as a natural sunscreen. Who would have imagined that the giant of the African savanna carries a built-in defense laboratory? It's a curiosity that dismantles prejudices and shows how ingenious nature is. In fact, you can apply this logic to our daily lives. Sometimes, what seems like an exaggeration or eccentricity is exactly what protects you from criticism or makes you stand out in the crowd. Curious, right? Now, hold on, koalas, so cute and calm, have fingerprints so similar to human fingerprints that they can confuse even forensic experts. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real. The similarity is so great that if a koala were at the scene of a crime, it could become a suspect. Of course, it's not like they're committing robberies out there, but curiosity is valid and fun. It shows that the complexity of nature goes far beyond appearance. Furthermore, it teaches us that not everything that seems unique about us humans really is. Exclusivity is sometimes just a well-packaged illusion. And speaking of peculiarities, what about the anteater? It has no teeth. None. But it consumes thousands of termites a day. Oh. With a sticky and absurdly long tongue that looks more like an animated measuring tape. It sticks its snout into termite mounds and licks everything with enviable efficiency. This is a beautiful example of how the absence of one thing can be masterfully compensated by another. How many times do we complain about what's missing, without realizing what's in excess? Perhaps your curiosity can lead you to explore new talents instead of insisting on areas where teeth are missing. The truth is that these facts, as strange as they may seem, teach us more about adaptation and survival than 1,000 complicated theories. Nature seems to laugh at our certainties, while at the same time providing creative solutions to the most unusual situations. It's like saying, see? It doesn't have to be conventional to work. And if you look closely, you'll realize that many things in your own life work this way too, based on brilliant improvisation. Here's a good exercise. The next time something seems too strange to be useful, take a step back. It may be the very detail that makes it all work. And if you thought the animal world couldn't get any more unexpected, get ready. Because there are ants running like they're in an Olympic marathon and dragonflies flying like helicopters. The show of natural speed is just beginning. Nature has its own Olympics, and some champions are so small that we don't even notice them. The Sahara silver ant, for example, is one of these discreet athletes. It runs at a speed that, in proportion to its body, surpasses many of our human record holders. Imagine a human running at 800 kilometers per hour. That's the speed we would be talking about if we had the same proportional performance. And the reason for this rush? The absurd heat of the desert. Every second stopped can mean the difference between life and death. Isn't this a curiosity worthy of a gold medal? The lesson here is clear. Sometimes size doesn't matter. What counts is the urgency of the purpose. And if the ant is already impressive, wait until you meet the Paratarsotomus macropalpes mite. This tiny creature, practically invisible to the naked eye, is the true Usain Bolt of the animal world. It runs 322 times its body length per second. It's as if a human being could cross a football field in the blink of an eye. A curiosity that leaves anyone speechless. Knowing this even changes the way we see the little things around us, whether they're people or ideas. We often underestimate what's too small to make a sound. But the real impact doesn't always come from size, but from the speed of action. Now, let's take it up a notch. Dragonflies aren't just cute and colorful, they're veritable biological helicopters. They fly forward, backward, sideways, and even hover in mid-air like natural drones. And all of this with such refined control that it makes aeronautical engineers envious. They're agile predators and hunt in mid-air with terrifying precision. It's the kind of curiosity that changes your perception. Maybe the next time you see a dragonfly, you're looking at a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering. And this teaches us a great lesson. Controlled movement is what defines masters in any area of life. And while we're on the subject of fast reactions, cockroaches deserve an honorable mention. Before you even think about stepping on it, it has already noticed the change in the air and scurried away to hide. The secret lies in tiny sensory hairs that detect the slightest movement in the air. It seems like magic, but it is pure biology. It is curious to think that an animal so ostracized is a master of survival. Maybe it is time to stop judging by appearance alone and start observing what really makes something or someone stand the test of time. Cockroaches are not pretty, but they are effective. And that says a lot. After meeting these speedsters of the animal world, it becomes clear that the extraordinary is in the details. And guess what? We have not even begun to scratch the surface of the most surprising discoveries. There is much more to come. After all this, tell me, how many of these curiosities did you already know? And how many made you rethink the way you see the world? The truth is that knowledge is everywhere, even in the sweat of a hippopotamus or the hurried steps of a desert ant. But only the truly curious stop to look. Now it's up to you. Will you let this curiosity die here, or will you transform it into fuel to see life with more lightness, intelligence, and admiration? What was the most surprising fact for you? And most importantly, which of these animals do you identify with the most? Comment below, I want to know. And if this content awakened something in you, if it made you laugh, think, or even rethink, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Because there's much more to come, and you won't want to miss it.